Good afternoon, everybody. This is Blue Table Talk, and I'm your host, Deborah Jones, along with my co-host, Toya. As we go on tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and read my mission statement before I bring my guests on. And our mission statement is to enhance our listeners with the guidance and understanding about what's going on in today's society, to educate and entertain the truth in all aspects, and nurture the beauty of each issue, whether it be through health, education, ministry, healing process, or whatever inspires them as we help the world to be a better place in our community and in our nation. So again, good afternoon. So tonight we have his poet, Treva, on tonight. As you know, Treva is a portress. And we're going to ask Treva to come to us right now and on the platform. And I want to say hello to Treva. Hey, Treva, how you doing?
Hello. Hi everybody. How you doing, Miss Deborah? And
Yeah.
how you doing, Toya? I am well. Thank you for asking.
Great, great. Treva, a lot of people don't know you and don't know what you do. I put on there your portraits and everything, but tell them a little synopsis about yourself. Hey, Cheryl.
Well, I am Beaumont, Texas, born and raised, and I'm a poet. I'm a spoken word artist. My name is His Poet. I am God's poet, and I speak truth. I speak truth unapologetically, in a way that um, causes people to pay attention. God
Mm-hmm.
has really blessed me with the gift of speech. And so I take it very seriously. I believe that when you have this gift of poetry or any gift of speaking, whether it be public speaking, ministry, whatever, that you are mandated to speak truth and give that with love. So that's what I try to do. I'm from Beaumont, Texas, Westbrook, class of 95 graduate. I was gone to Georgia for a few years. I just got back here in June, and I'm happy to be home.
Oh, okay. What year did you graduate from Westbrook?
95,
Okay,
1995.
that
Yes.
was, that was good. That was
You forgot that was the best class that ever
The
went.
oh
best class.
Lord. They trying to be like that class of 70 from Charleston Pollard. But that's
Come
okay.
on now.
Excuse y'all this time. We're gonna excuse you. How did you get started with poetry?
Oh wow. I have looks like poetry was I was born with it. I'm gonna say that. I have a something that I always say, and I tell people this and I mean it, and I always say everything you need to make it in this world, you were born with it the day that you got here. You have it inside of you. But the issue, how do you push it out, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of times we have to go through so many things. We call it the fire. We call it, going through trials and tribulations. But for me, I feel like poetry was always with me because as long as I can remember poetry.
Mhm.
I remember actually making my poetry become real in a talent show that we had at Vincent Middle School. I think I was in the sixth or seventh grade. And I did a poem, and the poem was actually about my abuse, but it was the way I put it. I remember it was a wolf and something with a wolf howling at the moon. I don't know, okay? But I know that one of the coolest dudes in school, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say his name, Sean Craven. Sean Craven, you
Yes.
know Sean. After that poem, and it was a talent show, and I was kind of devastated because I know the poem was good. And after the show, he came up to me with Sean was a clown, like he did picked on people for real. But he came up to me and he was like, "Say, that was a real good poem." And to me, it felt like I had won the talent show because to get somebody like Sean Craven's attention and to have him for real, like tell you something like that and mean it was
Yeah,
huge to me.
So he must
yeah,
be like the captain of the football team, huh?
No, he was just this cool dude, like right, Toya, like
yeah. He was. He was that guy.
he was that guy. He was, and I didn't even like him because I don't even like yellow dudes. But I'm just saying. And he was just so cool. Like
He was.
to know that he said it. I was like, wow. And so at 12, I went from Vincent, went to Oldham. I spent my eighth grade year at Oldham. And then after that, I don't know. I didn't write much. I kind of stopped writing, and then I went to art because at Odom, I got a chance to be in art, and that's where I had a piece entered in the kaleidoscope, and all kinds of different things began to
Right.
happen. And so I found a new love. So I probably cheated on poetry with art for the better part of about the rest of my high school career, in my early until I graduated and a little after, for sure. I didn't pick poetry back up till I was 26 years
Oh,
old. And I'll be 46 this year. So I've been doing poetry consistently now for
okay.
20 years. Hmm.
And in school, the first thing in ELA, English Language Arts, is poems. Our
Yes.
nothing is poems, are our poems. So you got your haiku, you have
Yes.
nads, you have your
I'm
limerick,
actually writing a
you have
book of
your free
haiku.
verse. Okay, you got the free. I used to love haiku, free verse, and acrostic. I used to love that. When
Yes.
the first letter of each line is spells the word.
Yes.
I love that. So when it got to poems and everything, I was all on it. I was all on it. I didn't, let it go out there. But when it came to the first letter of each name came to spell the word, I was like, okay, I got this. I got this.
Yes.
I'm gonna do the word beautiful. So
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
yeah. So does anyone in your family have a literary background?
Well, on my dad's side, I get a lot of my artistic characteristics from my dad's side because my dad's uncles, my dad's name is Joe Johnson, but
Mhm.
he had an uncle named Joe Green and Ernest Green who were quite the thespians. They wrote and they did books. One of my uncles wrote a book about King Nebuchadnezzar.
Okay.
And my dad has always been this person. Like I used to love to watch my dad write because his diction, the way that he wrote, his handwriting was beautiful, and it was almost like when they do the is it monogramming or what is it when
Mhm.
they specialize in that special
That calligraphy.
writing. Yes, calligraphy. it
Uh-huh.
was it was almost like calligraphy the way my dad wrote, and so I would often my dad did not expound on his art. He didn't, he wasn't loud about it, but I would often catch little pieces of paper where he would scribble a bouquet or he would do different things, or he would but my dad was extraordinarily well spoken, and
Mhm.
my dad did weird things with carpet. Like he would make designs out of carpet that nobody else could make, And so his art went a different route. But a lot of my eclectic personality comes from my father.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
look like my mom and I act like my daddy. Okay.
Because you definitely look like your mom.
Treva, you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
you said Joe Green. Is that Shantae's dad?
No, Joe Green. They were from um, Lake Charles. They were
Oh,
from Lake
okay.
Charles. These
Okay.
are like he's older. Old. This is my dad's uncle.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I just know a Joe Green from the Payorchi. I wondered if it was Mr. Joe.
oh, okay, okay. Yeah, they were from Lake Charles.
Right,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right,
they'll
right.
be kin though. You never, for
Yeah.
real,
I never know.
For real. For real, for real.
for real, for real.
Well, let me talk to my audience for a few minutes before I come
Mm.
back to you. Everybody, we have on tonight, we have his support, Treva. And so what I need you to do is go ahead and share and let them know. Because in a few minutes, I'm going to ask her, did she bring any portrait with her? And if she did, she can read one or two. She might have brought two, three, or four. Who knows?
I
That's
might have a little something, something.
so. So she'll read or recite a couple of them for us, and then I want everybody to listen to because she's awesome. And so y'all go ahead and
Thank
hit the
you.
share button because sharing is caring, and so that you can hear her poetry. And hello, Kathy, and hello, Cheryl. And so I'm gonna go back to Treva. Treva, did as a child did you write? I know you say you started at 26 doing all that, but still as a child,
I
did
did.
okay.
I wrote poetry as a child. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped from like 12 to 26. And I always say, one of the poems that I wrote in that period, it was called Life Took Over. And so the time that I didn't write anything was probably from 12 to 26, and a lot of things happened. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden, I started writing again. It was like, hey, you had to get some material, girl. you know,
Mhm.
because all these things I went through, and that is the basis of my writing. What I go through, what the world goes through. Life is my muse. Life is my muse. I've always loved words.
Mhm.
Always, God deals with me in words. He will give me new words when I'm dealing with people that I've never met and I'm trying to figure out their spirit. I'm telling you, honest to God, I will hear a word or I'll see a word that I've never used, don't know the definition of it, and I'll look it up and I'll go, oh, okay. You know, and so God knows. I love words. I love words.
So I'm seeing you, you're speaking of God and everything. Is that why you call yourself his court? Because of him?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, absolutely. He gave me that name, and I hated that name because I was a poet called Queen J. Okay,
Okay.
because I was the poet from the streets, and I told it like it was. Seriously.
Okay.
But around 2010, um, I wrestled with God one night. And I don't know if I was dreaming or I was awake, but whatever. But I know I wrestled with God and I had a conversation. And he told me, he says, your name is his poet. I'm like, his poet? That sounds crazy. I'm Queen J.
And don't forget,
Like that, right? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, it sounds weird. It's strange. And I said, why his poet? He said, you're my poet because you speak my words, right?
mhm,
And when he said that, his poet, it was done. I mean, it was no. And I'm telling you, the time I've been his poet, God has taken me further. I've only been his poet. Well, I've always been his poet, but by name since,
mhm.
since 2010. And God has taken me further than I've ever imagined I can go on any stage and represent Him. Not in a religious way either, in a real way, in a
Right,
relationship way, you
right.
know. And so it's been an amazing journey, and I'm looking forward to where else it's going to take me.
Oh, right. Hey, sit back and enjoy the ride, baby.
Yes, ma'am.
Mom said she knew a Treva that had children that went to Jones Clark Elementary School, and
That's me.
that's her, Cheryl.
Yeah. Hi, Miss LeBlanc. She knows my children are Thomas, Treasure, and Winter. That's my babies, and
Do you
they
know
look
Miss
just
LeBlanc?
like. I do believe I know Miss LeBlanc because I would do poetry at the school all the time,
Yeah.
like, and still do. So I was just when I couldn't come last week, I was at Calderwood, and I wasn't supposed to speak, but I went to support my goddaughter
Mm-hmm.
because her mom had to work, and tea is our thing. Okay, that's my thing. So we got all dressed up and we went, and my friend Sharita was there, Sharita Titus and Renata,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, and they were like,
Oh, yeah.
"Can you got something?" I'm like, "Yeah, y'all know I got it."
Well, you that girl, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Amen. Glory be to God.
Oh,
Shoot.
yes, ma'am. Yes. Well, Miss LeBlanc is my sister.
Really? I knew. Wow. Okay. Because your face looks so familiar. I'm
Okay,
like,
my face is beautiful. So let me take my glasses
yes,
off and let you see.
beautiful.
See the real one.
Come on now. Yes,
So,
ma'am.
did you bring in the portrait with you?
I'm sorry.
Did you bring any portrait with you?
I
Okay.
did. I did. I brought my handy, trusty poetry with me. I
Okay.
did.
Okay. So let me ask you one more question. Then I want you to recite one of them, or right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Okay. Great. So what makes a good poem writer?
What makes a good poem writer?
Hmm. A poetry writer.
Poetry writer? I believe that first of all, I will say this and I'm saying this for every writer out there because I meet people and then they go, I used to write poems,
Hmm.
or I've written poems before, but I haven't written in years. I say, well, wow, you're still a poet. So the desire that's there, most people don't have the time, or they have these things yearning at them, yearning at them, yearning at them. And then they don't fulfill it, or they don't sit down, or they just think they cannot. And I just want to say that if there's words sloshing around in your head, or floating around in your heart and it's something in you that's eager to put them together, then write it down. And whatever you come up with is a piece of you and it's beautiful. It's art, it's poetry, it's short stories, it's a novel, it's whatever, but it's a piece of you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a piece of you that no one has ever heard before. So don't let the way this one does it. See, me personally, let me show y'all something. You see this? This is my, I will say this is my poetry Bible.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a few pieces, but I'm going to carry something distinguished like this with me because I am that type of performer. I'm that type of minister. Um, my memory is not my thing, but you'll have poets elsewhere who they, da, 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 da,
Right, right,
they
right.
be on it, and they're really performers. But guess what? I can go on that stage and hang too.
Okay.
Now what? So I just do me and I do me unapologetically and I support others while they're doing them
Yeah.
because I appreciate I can't do what they do because they're the only them in this world and I'm the only me,
Right.
and so that's why I just let people be who they are. And
Exactly.
guess what? When that comes, and this is on life, I let people be who they are. And when they show me, then I decide whether I want to stay or walk away.
Okay. That's what God told Moses. Whatever you do, write it down.
Come on. Yes, he did. Yes,
So
he did.
we have to write it down. Look, I'm writing stuff down every day.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
poetry, but I'm writing stuff down every day because
Yes.
so we can remember it.
And
You
it's
know,
important.
and it's important.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Okay, so let's listen to Treva right now and his sports. Let me go to call about her name, his sports, and so let's sit back, relax, and listen to Treva.
Um, this poem is called We Check Out. It's something brand new, and I was really going through something. I wrote it last week, and I know Toya will be able to appreciate this tremendously. And Miss Deborah, I'm sure you too. Anybody who's that one person that people always run to, that one person that people lean on all the time, and you always look like the strong one.
Mm.
This is for those people.
All right.
We check out emotionally, mentally, physically. The strong ones, those always doing, always moving, always got the prayer or the praise, the ones who give you doses of sunshine on your rainy days.
All right.
We check out emotionally, mentally, physically. It may be covered with a smile, a tight hug, or maybe even a chuckle or two, but we're not here. There's no stopping. Life don't stop, and they're the ones that make it seem like they always on top. When so often they just a step away from falling to the bottom because 9 times out of 10, they fall asleep on the pillow feeling pretty common, feeling like the good guy that just finished last, still seeking recompense from some part of their past, and we check out situations that we often don't need to. We withdraw internally, deemed acting funny, and certain actions may take precedence. We freeze and at times do nothing. We
Mm.
check out. Is it a coping mechanism intended? So my brain don't decide to take an involuntary vacation. Is it medicine that I didn't know I needed? Because all I know is that I've continued to say good morning, and every morning meets me, and it arises from the skies, or it falls from it arises from. Wait, let me start over. All right, y'all.
Take
I'm
your
gonna bring
time.
that back. It's a coping mechanism intended. So my brain don't decide to take an involuntary vacation. Is it medicine that I didn't know I needed? Because all I know is that I've continued to say good morning. And every morning I arise, something meets me that either falls from the skies or arises from below. But I tell you, it hits me as soon as my feet touch the floor.
Mm. Mm.
And it becomes routine.
Mm-hmm.
Checks and balances that just don't check and never balance, holding in the pain just to ensure that your peace of mind remains, because God forbid you should see me crumble, and God forbid you might see me fumble, and God forbid that you might see me stumble,
Okay.
because then I'll be a blemish in your eye,
Yes.
and that may cause you to mumble. So we check out. hours, maybe days at a time. We pop up how to find phone calls, texts, and knocks on the door. Your mental shut down and said, no more. We check out emotionally, mentally, physically. I feel that we all need voluntary rest. And learning that lesson must be a part of this great text. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This how you do it. Yeah.
We snap.
Snap.
I
Awesome.
like that
was
poem. I wrote that's
wonderful.
very brand new, y'all. That's why I really kind of messed up, but
That's
really
okay.
brand
Hey, we even knows that part.
new.
It was so good.
That was
It was fresh.
amazing, sis.
Yes.
Thank you, my love.
We do check out.
We do.
We do.
Yeah. And people around us don't even know it. They don't
Don't
even
even
know.
know it. Don't
They
even know
even
'Cause-
know.
Treva now be having to some come to Jesus meetings.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yes, indeed.
So describe your working day. What do you do all day? Do you write
Oh,
poems
man.
all day
I
or
work. I will. Let me tell you something now. I'll tell people. I say my career, my life is poetry and writing. I still have to work a regular smegular though because so I work for United Healthcare, Medicare, and I get up 8 in the morning and well earlier than that, and I work from 8 to 12. I'm off from 12 to 4, and that's just in case there's anything I need to go do. If there's events at schools, that allows me to go to the schools and go speak. That allows me to do other things like work on websites and work on graphics and do different things like that. Then after that, and I'm getting my daughters to work and helping with grandbabies and this and that. So then after that, 4 o'clock, I clock back in and I'm work from 4 to 8 generally every evening. And then after 8 o'clock, maybe there's a show like this coming Friday. We have a show at Landlords, Daiquiri Hut in Port Arthur. And after I get off at 8, I'm going to Zoom to the show. Sometimes on Tuesdays, it's Tuesdays, there's an open mic at the Log On. And so now being that I'm just coming back here and it's such a weird era where we are. Everything's coming alive, but then at the same time, there's that, low just nervousness because it's so many people out and everybody's trying to reclaim territory. And so which means you're going out, you're hitting the stage, you're doing this, you're doing that. And so that's what we're caught up in, just a season of going right now. But in going, it's been really busy. I've had a lot of my friends have said, hey, I'm watching you now.
yeah.
Take a rest, and so I have my moments, but if you're anything like me, and I know Toya's like this as well, taking a rest, you're resting, but your mind is still like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, I got to do that,
And you're really not getting rest,
You're not.
You're really not getting any rest.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. My friends,
that's the hardest thing to do is to shut up.
Tired. I am tired, but you got to keep moving.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Wow. So Tori, you have any questions you want to ask? My computer keeps messing up, so y'all.
I know everything about her, so I don't. But she does have a jewelry line, and she has a couple of books out. I don't know if you guys talked about that.
I do.
No, we haven't.
I do. Okay. I have 2 books that I've self-published. The first one is called The Spirit of Inspiration. So it is written, The Spirit of Inspiration. And you can look on under Treva, His Poet Johnson. The books are on Amazon and other places online. The other one is called The Truth Poetically. And both of these I've released. Both of them are really faith-based poetry books. And I'm writing a haiku book, and it's other projects I'm working on. My jewelry store is His Poet Creations online. And so I have a store, and I make jewelry, and I get odd jewelry from different places, and I'm kind of have jewelry for the one who doesn't like to be like everyone else. So
exactly.
Check me out. And I have all kind of new stuff that I have not put on the website. Bad me, terrible me. That's on the list for me to do. But
Treva, are you ever nervous when you get on stage? I just can't see you being nervous.
You know what? I was telling one of my sisters. I know, right? I was telling, girl, look, I have spoken in so many places. I've done poetry on the J train in New York and shut it down. You hear me? In Brooklyn. But every time I'm on the stage, I don't care where it is, that butterfly. And I've heard people say that, like they say if they ever lose it, they're not doing it anymore. And I'm the same way. If I just get on the stage so cocky, like real flippantly,
Right.
like whatever, I don't. There's no need of me doing it because then I've lost my passion.
You lost your
I
passion.
feel like that rumble in my belly, the butterflies, is my passion that's pushing me on to do it. And I was in Tampa, Florida in March, and that was probably one of the most. I don't know. I'd be cool, but then I'd be nervous on the inside. It's just weird. But I went. It was a national poetry slam that was given by an organization called As She Speaks, which focuses on women and domestic violence and mental health and all of that. And I think there were two poets from Texas. There was another poet from Philly. There was people there from other parts of Florida. There was people there from like other places. And you had to memorize two poems and you could read one. Well, I'm telling y'all, God is so amazing, y'all. Went way to Florida, I knew I was supposed to go, but went on faith, truly. Artists spend money. Before you like quote unquote make it, we spend on ourselves. That's what a lot of people don't understand. I don't even think, I know you do, Miss Deborah. I know Toya does, and I know I do. And I don't think people who are just sitting and they haven't really stepped out to do their thing don't understand how much an artist or a creator or whatever puts back into themselves. Our dreams take capital. It does. So when I went to Tampa, spent money on this, spent money on that, did not even, I don't know, winning was a reality to me, but I went there for the purpose because I knew if God was sending me way down there, he was sending me for a reason. And the 3 poems, we had to do 3 poems, one on value, or one on evolving, one on safety, and one on womanhood. And the one I did on womanhood was very different because people were, hear her roar and all this, But I'm become real. So I gave a poem about abortion. Okay. And it's called Birthday. And it's a poem that talks about the one child I did abort and how I apologize every year because I don't know your birthday. And I give people that reality of life. I want to talk about stuff because there's several faces of abortion, but you don't see many faces that tell you, man, I miss my child. And ooh, Lord, that was one of the biggest regrets in my life. I think about it every day. It took me a long time to forgive myself, and all of that's talked about in the poem. And so I don't choose to always take the norm road. I will approach things from a different aspect, just like George Floyd. God blessed me to write a poem. And I have not done this poem in many arenas, but it's a very controversial poem because it's called I Can Breathe. Because what people don't understand, when we were saying we couldn't breathe, that was a curse. You understand me? We were speaking death. But in the Bible, we say speak life or death. And when we say we cannot breathe, we're forsaking the very thing that God gave us to live every day. And that's what he wanted me to say. And and when you look at it from a different approach, it's like, ooh, but that's the approach God gave me. And I haven't done it much because it's not a popular poem. And when I have done it in audiences, they've been captivated by it because it's strong and it's real. It doesn't really it talks about the ugly thing that they did, but my piece during that was knowing that in spite of what these people do and everything, that I know there's still a God. And honey, this world is round for a reason, and will go around, come around one day.
Comes around. That's right.
God does not sleep.
I just told my daughter that this morning. You reap what you sow.
You do.
Come around.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I would love to hear both of them. Joy Foreman and abortion. I love it. I've been seeing your advertising on many posters around the city. Which you're gonna be here, you're gonna be there, and blah, blah, blah. I've got to see her in person.
Yes, I'm so glad that to be on with Mama D, baby, because I'm like, let me come on here. Yes, so it's a honor and a great blessing to be on your show.
Oh,
Truly,
yes,
it's
I'm
good.
so proud that you accepted the invitation, and
Okay.
thank you, Toya, for introducing me to her.
You're welcome.
Absolutely,
She's
yes.
amazing. And
So are you, my sis?
I don't share her with everybody.
She wasn't fussing me
She
all.
don't.
She wasn't
She
fussing
really
me all
don't.
the time. She wasn't fussing out, girl. I got this. Some people were saying we are the strong ones. And that way, when you did your poem,
Yeah.
and then when you did your poem, Kathy Wingate says, absolutely amazing. She
Yeah.
also says, I'm thinking about going to landlords.
Well, come on
And
now.
so Maxine says she haven't finished her story about being in Tampa.
Oh, I won, y'all. That was the story. Forgive me, my love. That's something that I do, and I like to call it floating. I will float between conversations for real. Because I talk to a lot of people, and the conversation, Toya, we do that. Like, we'll be talking about one thing, then we float over here, and then we just connect. But Tampa, I won. I went all the way out there, y'all, and won number one spot in
Yeah.
a national poetry slam for Beaumont, Texas.
That's
Hey,
right.
Big Money, Texas. Won some money too. I
Oh,
was like, look at God. What?
amazing. That's the amazing part.
So, sis, I have a question. What is the most money that you have ever heard of that someone can win in poetry?
For a slam?
Yeah, what's the most that a person, that you've ever known that they win?
I think the highest amount I've seen, and I know it goes up higher than this. And I'm gonna say this: there's all types of ways, different things. There's the in-person contest where you're gonna get on the mic. There's all these rules and criteria, and that I've seen that get up to, I believe, between 5,000 and 7,000 for the
Oh,
number one spot.
wow. Okay.
Then there's tons of contests online, which you have to put an application fee and this and that, but you can get different things published. So there's innumerable entries online. If you're just that quiet poet and you want to see how your stuff is and enter it, just type in online poetry contest and enter and see, but the thing about my children would tell you different, because when I sit down at a domino table or a chessboard, my competitive nature kind of comes out. But I'm not competitive when it comes to poetry, because I don't do this for that. You
Yeah.
know, uh, that happened, and I was just like, unbelievable. That was my very first like real slam ever. And
Okay.
yeah, and won. And I was like, wow, it was really amazing. I just felt like God gave me that, and so if that's something that I want to do later and go that route, I know that I can, because I did it and I succeeded with it. My desire with this poetry is, every time I have to do a poem, and I'm very thoughtful on what poem I should do, because if I don't know, I just don't know. And God will show me. I'll say, God, I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, boop, a poem will drop into my spirit. And it'll be something that comes up and says, wow, you don't know how you bless me. You don't, and I'm like, well, thank you. I was at a event the other day, and this lady, and I just did a poem about, it was called Single Mama's Blues, which is a poem dedicated to single mothers. And this woman said, and this is not it's you it's not a churchy poem. It's a realistic poem about women, but of course God is in there, But this woman came, she says, you gave me deliverance. And I was like, wow. And she hugged me so tight and she was crying. I went on Mother's Day, I was invited to a good friend's house for a barbecue. And she asked me to read a poem for her family. And my baby girl was there. And so I did that poem, and even her sons, everybody was crying. And I was like, wow. And I've heard people tell me it's something with your voice. It's your voice. And I'm just like, that's God, because I didn't make this thing. God did. You know, he gave it to me, and I always have to give it all to him because,
Yeah.
you know, that's that if it wasn't for my creator, my
Mhm.
God,
Mhm.
Mhm.
the Father,
Mhm.
man, I don't know where I would be. I'm so serious, y'all, because I do not look like what I've been through. I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yes.
God's amazing.
Yes, he
So to
is.
be his poet is an honor for real. I get real jealous over that. I be Googling like somebody better not be trying to take my
You better trademark your name.
Yeah, it's not trademarked.
Well, it is registered, but I do have to trademark it. But it is registered
Well, then you can't say nobody
as a
better.
business. It's registered as a business. It is registered as a business. So I am registered that way.
Mm.
So I'm the one. Like, can't nobody take that. You know, people try it though. People try it. They really do.
Well, I
Mhm.
have a question because I know how passionate you are for the kids and women. Have
Absolutely.
you ever thought about well, I guess I would want to say mentoring, but no, you just taking people who wants to do poetry and just kind of guiding them.
Absolutely. I kind of do it low key, but I
Mhm.
would love to. And I'm gonna say this: if there's any poets or any of you grandmothers out there, and you know your baby has a knack, your grandbaby has a knack for writing, or any parents, please send them my way because I love to encourage and I love to give tips. And my gift is helping people find their voice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Period. I know God used me to change the trajectory of a young lady's life years ago. She was in the ninth grade with her when I met her. She was one of my church members. It was a family from Belize. And she was in ninth grade. She went to PNG and she was the only little pretty brown girl in her school. And she was so timid and quiet. And she wanted to learn how to do poetry and prose. And we would meet in the pastor's office, she and I would work with her on different things. Honey, let me just tell you this. This baby went through all 4 years of high school and ended up with a fully paid theater scholarship
Wow.
because of that
Wow.
coaching. She found her
Wow.
voice and she
Yeah.
flew.
And she,
Mm.
She
yeah,
flew. She
That's
did.
amazing.
it is.
So
Yeah.
I love to pour into children. I'll be at South Park on the 24th
Mhm.
doing speaking for their graduation for the
Good.
two different ceremonies. So, you know, and I take off work for stuff like that. I do because,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to come back in so many other
Oh, yeah.
ways.
Yes.
It always does. And if I have an opportunity to pour into the babies, just to, you know, I think that our brains when we are children is like a garden. And this is how it's compared to me. I see it. And there were things, unless I touched something or saw something or something that sparked something, I didn't know I liked until I saw it, you
Mhm.
know? And that's how art was for me till I got to eighth grade and really, you know, that Miss She began to tell me, wow, wow, you're really good. And it's not a whole world for art opened up for me. And so if I can help children early, to find their voice and know that they're gifted and to be able to be bold and be well spoken, man, that alone can take you far in life. And to help them to understand how valuable they are and to keep going no matter what.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, let me ask you this question: does writing poetry does it energize you or does it exhaust you?
Oh no, it's therapy. It is therapy. Much of my writing, um, like I was abused as a little girl. You know, I
Mhm.
went through that as a little girl, as many women has. And that was part of my healing. That was my healing process. The very first poem I wrote at 26 when I started writing again was a poem called Sad, Sad Tale. And it speaks about what happened to me and how I processed it and what happened as a little girl up into an adult because though that one thing opens up many doors to people's lives and it opens up doors that eventually God have to shut, you know.
Yeah.
And so I speak about those things. And that writing that poem just opened the floodgate. And immediately, y'all, I'm telling you, the enemy is something else, I tell you. Because immediately after I started writing again, it looked like all hell re-broke loose in my life. I was in a very bad abusive relationship. All kind of stuff just happened to try to stop me, and it didn't stop me. It gave me fuel for the fire.
Wow.
And I produced some of my greatest pieces during those times in my life. And I go back now and I might revamp them and, look at it from another perspective, but powerful words that God had given me during those times.
So Treva, the one that you wrote about when you were, sexually assaulted,
Hmm.
have you wrote something about healing from that?
Oh, absolutely. I have many poems about healing because that's a plague, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the fact that it went on so much, Miss Deborah, when you were younger, in so many different families,
Mm-hmm.
Toya, it went on when we were younger in so many different families, and we see it's happening still today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it bothers me to my core because that alters a person's life so tremendously. I'm so
It
serious.
does. It
Yeah.
It
does.
does. It's so many strings attached to that one, you know, life changing moment that someone stole something from a baby or a child. And
Right.
so I write a lot about healing. I write words that help people to release. I write words that help people to write down their words. Um, I'll never forget, I was in a bar in Houston. This was probably about in 2010, somewhere around there, 2011, somewhere around there. And I go in the bar and I do my testimony. And that's the only poem, y'all, that I have memorized, my testimony, because that is my walk. I have many lives about my walk, but that one is the one that's on my heart. But and this man, this white guy was drunk. I'm talking about he was so drunk. God has given me the ability to go into places that are not normal and command attention just by speaking.
Right.
And this man was loud and boisterous, and all over. Child, by the end of that poem, that boy come up to me, hug me, and crying and say, "You just changed my life."
Wow.
Mm.
You
Wow.
know, I'm like, amazing. I've done poetry in the traffic court on Orleans, y'all. I mean, for
Judge Lively. I love Judge Lively. Oh my God, I love him.
yes, he is amazing.
He is. I don't think that man gives. I think he dismisses everything.
Everything. Everything.
I love him.
Yeah.
But
Me
Treva,
too.
I
He
did
has the
have a.
most beautiful spirit, girl.
He
That man,
does.
he
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
He does. I love him.
And I got
Yeah.
my
But
ticket dismissed.
yeah. Hey, yes, I love. I'm telling you, he's the
'Cause
best.
he dismisses everything. So
He
He does.
do.
Well, look, right. We need to stop before somebody say something, and they.
For real,
He
girl.
don't dismiss everything.
He
He just
doesn't.
don't dismiss everything.
I done had to pay some stuff too now. I used to get speeding tickets every year, god dog it.
Oh Lord. So Treva, I have a question because I want to go back to about the healing and things that, you know, as children, many of us went through. But it's always swept under the rug, or
Hmm.
either you're the monster. Have you
Right.
ever wrote about something like that?
Oh my, have I? You know what? I might have, but not taking it on full fledged as I need
Okay.
to. Um,
Because I think that
I
would help
will.
a lot of people. I think that really
Yes,
would.
because that rug ain't a rug no more. It's a whole nother house up under there. You see, it's a whole nother house. You know, people, why do we protect molesters and we don't protect children? I don't get it. We
yeah.
protect Uncle such and such. We
Yeah.
protect this
Yeah.
one. Why?
Yeah.
Because by gosh, the family's gonna look bad. Y'all already look crazy. So you might as well tell the truth. You feel
Right.
me?
Yeah.
Like, come on, like tell the truth and free these children because
Yep.
acknowledgement
Mhm.
is key.
Yep.
That's people don't understand. There's healing alone in acknowledgement.
Right.
When your child come up and tell you this happened, that happened, and your reaction from that point on will forever
Yeah.
either elevate your child or drag them down. I'm telling you, seriously, one or the other. Your your play, your position is pivotal in that instance. So moms, dads, whoever, aunties, uncles, grandmas, when some child come and tell you that something has happened that was not right, please take it seriously and let's don't put nothing else under the rug. Even if it was your son, your best son, the one who pay all your bills or whatever, I don't care. Turn that clown in because he didn't have no business doing what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Period. We have to stop hiding these things. And I believe
Yeah.
in these platforms, like this, being open about it. Because
Right.
I'm tell y'all right now, we putting something on somebody's mind right now. I'm gonna
Right.
tell you right now.
Yeah.
And heart. And so hopefully, you know, this is why I have such a heart for teachers. Teachers see so much at school. And you have those teachers who ignore and turn their head, but you have those teachers who go in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have so far less teachers that go in than the ones that turn their head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the ones who go in, man, I love y'all and I appreciate who you are because the kids need you. And I know it's getting harder and harder because the parents are making it harder and harder. A lot of them.
Yeah.
In these situations that they're in, and then the kids go to school and put out all this stuff, that they didn't had to go through at home. You don't
Right.
know what that baby's night was like,
Right.
you know, and everything is not a behavioral issue. Some things are something is happening.
Yeah.
Everybody not a bully. I always say that I feel sorry for the victim of the bully because I've been the victim too, but the bully has a problem too. See? So what's going on with this kid that this kid has to do that?
Yeah. You're right.
Seriously.
Yep.
You're right.
So yeah, I love the children, y'all. I love kids. I do. I
Yeah.
love children. I will do I love kids. I love to see them do well. They're innocent. They didn't ask to come here.
Next, come here.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for those kids, I tell
I
you.
know you are, sis. Yes, indeed.
Yes. Well, give us another point.
Absolutely. Now this poem I'm gonna do, this is this is a lot of my testimony here. Actually, it's kind of my whole life, but it's one of those healing poems.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's called, this is the poem that got me selected for that National Slam in Tampa.
Okay.
I submitted this entry. So it's called He Made Me Love Him. Let me get some water, y'all. He made me love him. He made me love him, even when I didn't want to. I was like, I don't even know you. He made me love him. I didn't even know what love is, but love he would freely give. I didn't even know how to receive, didn't even know how to believe in his love. For years, decades, I ran so far away. I didn't realize his love would stay. Didn't even think he cared for me. Never realized he'd never let me be. He didn't force himself at night. No, it wasn't that type. He didn't stalk me per se. He just never went away. He watched me like all the time, and I ignored him like most of the time. Grew up thinking he was only rocking with one kind. I was oblivious to his intentions, never even thought to give him an honorable mention. He made me love him. At 12, I tried pleasing him and being perfect.
Hmm.
By 18, I decided he just wasn't worth it. By 22, I had two babies and no wedlock. I put him out of my mind, thought I was my own rock. By 26, I was having a nervous breakdown. Somehow, my pain was triggered and my past was visible now. By 25, I was doing whoever and whatever I wanted. pregnant with another one, but this time I aborted.
Mm.
I tattletaled on my molester from all those years ago. I told my mama and my daddy what they did not know. 2003, I'll call that my freedom year, and that's when I subconsciously began my war against fear. Still, I did nothing for him. I'm sure I looked spiritually lazy, and by 27, I was having yet another fatherless baby.
Mm.
Still, he
Mm.
made me love him. By 33 babies in a dark hole. The first time I came to the end of myself, it was time to fold. I began to seek within me. I tried to search, and I remember laughing myself out of one church. All I knew is I had to change my life. I didn't want the curses I endured to cause my baby strife. He made me love him. I decided I had to get on course. Something inside was pushing me, some major force. I knew this time there was no turning back. It was time to get and stay on track. He made me love him. Now that don't mean I didn't fall. I had to realize I'm not perfect after all, but when I discovered that his love would never ever leave me be, only then is when I understand the true meaning of being free. I didn't have to fight for his love or his care. The closer I got, I realized he was always right there. Even when I spit poems from church to church, ashamed of a cocaine addiction, he held me closer and still had the best intentions. He made me love him. He never, never, not for one moment, turned his back on me. When I surrendered my will for his, he pulled me gently. All I had to give him was me in return. He taught me his ways, and I sat at his feet to learn. I am 45 years old, and my life is a miracle, to say the least. His presence alone is the mighty feast. He has kept me longer than I could ever even imagine. God could have let me drown in my sin, but y'all, he made me love him. I was the prodigal kid. I had to see the worldly ways, but God waited for me innumerable days until his love was something that I never fully understood, because he made me love him, because he loved me better than I ever could. Thank you.
Great. Love it.
Thank you, love.
That
Thank
was
you, love.
amazing, sis. That was amazing.
Thank you, sis. Thank you. That's yeah. And that everything in that poem is real. That was therapy. When I came out of something, people don't know, girl. My story is really, I don't look like what I've been through. I often say that my story reads like a fiction novel, but it's real. Like
Yeah.
and that's just small pieces of half of what I've been. That's not even half of what I've been through. But
Yeah.
you know, God's amazing. For real.
Yes, he is. He is amazing.
Yes.
If people only knew your story, if they only knew.
That's right. And they see me, and I think people see me like walking around with this smile and, always, pleasing and always personable and talking to everybody. That's just who I am. Because one thing about it, I resolved within myself that I'm not going to let nothing that happened to me
Mm,
outshine me.
that's right.
I'm not. Nothing. Can't. It's impossible. All that stuff was intended to take me out. And what Monica say? I'm still standing.
Hmm.
Come on now.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Well, you have truly blessed us today.
Thank you, sis. Thank y'all
You're
so much for having me. This
welcome.
is amazing.
Well, we're happy that you came on. I don't know what happened to Mama D.
I don't know. I hope she wasn't crying. I don't know.
Girl, I don't know. You had me trying to. You had to. Had to keep my composure. But yes, you did a great job. So when is your next speaking engagement?
We have a show this week at
Oh, you did
Landlords.
say that.
Hmm.
Okay.
Then there is what else? On the 9th of June.
Mhm.
One of my good friends passed away. I don't know if people might know him or not. His name was Damian Robertson. and he was called 6ix9ine in the hood, and I called him Dame
Yeah.
or bro. Me and this dude was more brother. He was more brother to me than brother. Okay.
Yeah.
And he passed away in October of 22. And so we're going to have 6ix9ine Day at Culture Lounge. And
Okay.
I'm going to actually speak the poem that I spoke at his funeral, which captures, that's one of my that's one of my gifts, Toya. Like, God gives me the ability to capture people with words.
Yeah.
If anybody needs a personalized poet, weddings, y'all, I have references. I've done poetry for ExxonMobil, um, all types of corporations, all types of people and churches and organizations and events. I write personalized poems. And how that goes is we have a conference and I talk to you and I get the things that you're trying to capture with words. And then this poem comes out and it's on point every time. And so it's just a great gift. And I would much rather write poems for the living than the dead. So
I understand. I
y'all get at your
understand.
girl, okay?
Yes, and that was the question I really was going to ask you. So you do write poems for other people, for other
Yes.
weddings.
Oh,
How
yes.
do they get in contact with you in order to do so?
Well, you guys can look me up. His poet. You can hit me up on Facebook. My phone number is 409. Hey, Miss Deborah, there she go. There she go, Mama D.
Y'all know what happened to my internet.
Oh, you did say it was acting up tonight. Okay, well, we're glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
So, y'all can reach me. My phone number is 409-550-6334. You can email me his poet, his words, S on the end at gmail.com, or you can just hit me up on Facebook. I'm doing a wedding next year, and it's for one of my poetic sisters, and she has this idea that's what we're going to put together is amazing. So
Great.
I love to capture people's spirit with poetry. I love to write personalized poems. I do birthday poems for a lot of women, like birthday poems. They do, and then I talk with them. We talk, and um, it just comes out. It's a poem specifically that no one else can have. This poem. It's just about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. I love it. I do. So y'all look, I call it poetry grams. That's what I call it. I call it poetry grams. It's a personalized poetry gram, and it just captures the essence of any event, anything you want to say, anything. Yeah, it's good. So it's a great blessing to be able to do something like that.
That's great.
That's great. I know you said this early, but for those who have just come on or came on a little later than usual, can you give me any advice to some? Can you give any advice to someone who wants to write and publish poetry?
Absolutely. When you write it down. Don't worry about it being wrong or right. Don't worry about it, um, not being good, because your words are going to bless someone. I mean, I've seen poems written about nothing, literally a green frog, and blow up and make millions. Like,
Wow.
seriously, right? So it's just one, what it is. So don't stop writing. Don't let anyone not liking or not loving or whatever discourage you from writing, because nobody can ever compare to what you have inside of you. Know that. uh, Look at different things that kind of encourage you to write. Do those things more and just sit down with it. Let it be therapy to you. When it comes to publishing, um I self-publish both of my books. And of course, you have the traditional publishing. Publishing is such a wide, let me speak on that for a moment. It's such a wide range. You
Right.
can go and pay a lot of money to be published. You can go and put your own money into and work into self-publishing, because when you self-publish, it's work. It is. But there are different sites that can guide you. Personally, I enjoy lulu.com. That's where I go to publish. Of course, you have Amazon now, which helps people with publishing. They sell in publishing packages. And so you have options. And you have the old-fashioned way. Send your work off to a publisher and send a transcript. They still do things that way as well. But my number one advice is, whatever you do, don't get discouraged to stop writing. Don't. Stay encouraged to keep writing. because if it's for nobody but you, somebody gonna read those words one day, and it's gonna give insight, it's gonna give healing, and it's gonna give life. It is.
Who was your favorite person who wrote poetry?
I have a few. The person who I absolutely love and adored, and I absolutely was shattered when she left here, is Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
She is my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite. I think Mr. Langston is my second
There you
favorite. And I am a lover of two more, Edgar Allan Poe and William Shakespeare. I love William Shakespeare. I do. But as far as poetry, Maya and Langston, that's my top two.
Yeah.
I love my one thing. I wanted to meet Maya. That was the one thing, and I could shed a tear now because I gotta wait till we get on the other side. You know,
That
But
was
I wanted
that
to-
was my nickname for Treva. I said
Yeah.
she's my little Maya Angelou.
We love her.
Did she tell you that she's gonna be on BET?
Oh no.
She didn't tell you that?
Oh, come on,
I didn't.
She's
I
gonna be
didn't.
on
You
BET.
have to let people know.
Look, we've been speaking this for years. She gonna be on BET.
It's gonna happen. We speaking it. And I'm gonna meet Tyler Perry. Truly, it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be right there on your coattail.
Come on now, let's go.
You're gonna be right there.
Yes, indeed. Let's go. And I tell you, it's something. You know, I went to Georgia, and when I first went to Georgia, there was so much anticipation and excitement and things I was gonna do, and then COVID hit. And so then I was like, God, you sent me here, and I was like, but what? Like oh my gosh, I was deflated. But then when I went full circle, that's something else I'm gonna say. Y'all trust God, even when you can't trust what it looked like, baby. You hear me? Because what you don't know, I promise you, He does.
Yes.
For real. And
But
everything turned out. Everything ended up turned around for my good. It did. It really did.
Yeah.
It did.
But she didn't tell you the plan. The plan was I was coming to meet her.
Yes, that was the plan. And then when she came, God sent me back here, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay. And we're both two powerhouses, so it's like when she left there here and went there, I left there and came
here.
I said, but we still in close contact. So look, distance ain't nothing, but you know, I'll be back in Georgia. I really would like to live in Georgia again, though, just a certain area, because Georgia is different all around.
Yeah,
it is.
Beautiful city, beautiful state, but the people are a bit different.
Right.
Yeah, they are. Bit different.
Yeah.
That's the real South, huh? We just the Southeast.
I will tell you, I didn't know racism until I got to Georgia. Yeah. I mean, I knew it was here, but experiencing it, no. When I got there, there was a place. This has never happened to me anywhere. I have to tell this story. Never happened to me anywhere else ever. I've gone into. One thing I like to do is test myself with different ethnicities, because I want every ear. You understand? I don't want just one ear. I want every ear, regardless of color, regardless of past, regardless of financial status, whatever. I want you to hear me. And I was at a bar in Georgia, and it was this guy had an open mic. He had comedy and poetry. So I was one of the poets, one of the feature poets. So I get up there and I do my poems. And I did a poem called My African America. And My African America is simply just a poem talking about not putting down nobody else. It's just talking about my story and how our story, how we don't know our roots. Like we don't know. Right. It's just the truth, right? There were two couples, you know, Caucasian couples, who went to the owner and said, you need to review what your people say on stage before you put them on the microphone. And they left.
Okay.
They were angry and offended, but I wasn't even talking about them. You know, I was talking about our own path, our own journey, but that happened in so many different, just weird things that with racism happened in Georgia. I was like, golly,
well,
beautiful state.
It is, but I'm offended because 20 miles down the road, there's a restaurant and they're lynching President Obama.
Yep, sure is. Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's cities you'll go into. I'll never forget this one city that we would drive through it, and it would just give me such an eerie feeling. The sign, it just looked real old timey. And the sign says, the motto was, when you come through here, you're stepping into a little bit of the past. What does that mean?
Oh, wait, where is that at so I don't go?
All right.
What city is that in?
That sounds like cutting shoes.
It start with the P. A little bitty town on the way to Albany. As long as you don't go on the way to Albany from Columbus, Georgia, you straight, sis.
You straight.
I'm gonna remember that.
Be careful, Toya.
For real.
Look. Your daughter packs. Well, look, I packed some pills.
Listen, okay.
I'm from Texas.
I had to calm her down, okay?
Look, they found out real quick at the schoolhouse I'm from Texas.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh yes. And you know what? They're intimidated by people from Texas too.
Well, baby, guess what?
Oh my gosh.
We didn't
have
have
you noticed that, Toya?
Yes.
They are, like you say, Texas. They like, you know.
Look, Treva, I said I don't know what y'all do in Georgia, but I'm from Texas. I will shut it down, and I fight kids. I fight mamas and grandparents. I ain't never had another problem.
You see why I tell her sit down.
Oh my goodness.
Sit down. I am so glad that God has put me in the presence of you guys because
amen.
He's just awesome at what he do. And I sit back and I listen. You know, when there's lightning and thunder around here, I cover everything. That's why old days they used to cover everything. But I listen to what God has to say. And when God put me in the presence of Toya, I think I knew of Toya, but I didn't know Toya. And I think I called her husband to do something for me. Is that right, Toya?
Yes, ma'am.
And then she typed and say, my husband could do this and this for you, whatever you need. And so I'm like, oh, this girl's offering her husband to me and to do my work. And I'm like, okay, I don't know her, but I knew her mom. And
yes.
And so I said, okay, good. I need this done. And then when we really got to where we must have talked almost every day. And so,
yes.
And so I found the quiet spirit in her.
Oh,
you know.
Thank you.
From that,
and genuine and integral.
Genuine. That's the thing about, because you have to watch people. And I'm very upset.
Do.
And anybody on this podcast that know me know that I'm very upset, but I ain't taking no stuff.
Come on.
I'm sorry. You know, and they have to tell me to sit down. Sit down, girl. But I love her and I appreciate her. And
girl.
I love you too.
I am there for her, and whatever she does, I'm there for her. You know, so
thank you, Mama dear. I appreciate.
You know, girl, you have to go. There she go on. So we're gonna have to get out here before all of us go off. Thank you for coming on, Treva. And God bless you. And you guys, you know, we have a new mayor. So he was sworn in today. His name is Roy West. So everybody know that. And so we got to hold everybody. The councilman seats, they're the same. And so we got to hold everybody accountable for what they say they would do. So that's
right.
That's from the mayor on down. So
that's right.
So let's keep that in. If they talk about infrastructure, they're gonna do this and this and this to that. Hold them accountable.
Yes.
Hold them accountable, because you know what? I'm making a phone call tomorrow.
Yes. Come on. And so and if I could say, let the prayer put on your prayer list that all of those in position make the right decision.
Decision.
Especially where our youth is concerned, because they've been suffering for a long time.
Yes. Yes. And then thank you, Maxine. I want to thank our former mayor, which is Robin Mouton. I want to thank her for her 2 years that she served. And she did a great job, a magnificent job. And I wish could have gone on, but it ain't never over.
No. She's still young. She's still young.
So when a man move you from one place, God has another place for you.
That's right.
Place.
That's
so,
right.
No, we're going to keep everybody at the city hall in prayer.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about them. We're going to work with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got to work with them.
Absolutely.
Yes, because the Bible says pray for our leaders.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Pray for our leaders. And
it does. It absolutely does.
You know, and I feel as though he's a good person, but let's let him work. I mean, he still got to work.
Yeah.
He's a good person, but he still has to work. God bless you. I keep with my prayer. If I can help somebody as I pass along this way, then I know that my living not in vain. Thank you, Treva. Thank you, Toya.
Love you, Toya.
Love you too. Love you.
Right.
For supporting us tonight. Go out and tell somebody that you love them. God bless you and God keep you. Good night.
Good night.